I feel like it changed me in an okay, decent way. Spiritual, I think, yes, I think you have to be spiritual to a certain extent. I think you just gotta be open.
Helena Christensen, the luminous face of the 90s, seemed to have it all: beauty, fame, and success. Yet behind the camera's glare lay a world of tragedies. Now she lifts the veil on the tragedies that reshaped her life, revealing a story far darker and far more human than anyone imagined. Join us as we uncover the details behind this heartbreaking tragedy. The heartbreak that never healed. On a secluded beach with black sand, the wind messed up her hair while the ocean made loud sounds in the distance. During the early 1990s, Helena Christensen was extremely famous, appearing on glossy magazine covers, towering billboards in city streets, and even in a very famous music video from that era. She was seen as very graceful and flawless, like a woman who couldn't be touched, always in the spotlight of her time. However, despite her public image, her personal life was a combination of beauty, vulnerability, and sadness. Helena had a significant relationship with Michael Hutchence, the lead singer of the band INXS. They met in the early 1990s and were together for 4 years. During this time, Helena was a top model, and Michael was a famous rock star. They appeared to be a glamorous and cool couple to the public. However, their connection was much deeper than what people realized. They built a life together in Paris and Copenhagen, enjoying traveling and peaceful moments while having a strong emotional bond that did not require constant public attention. They stayed away from the usual celebrity scene, hardly giving interviews or attending big events together. Their love was passionate yet private, based on trust, respect, and the feeling of being truly understood by each other. In 1992, everything changed for Michael. He went to Copenhagen to visit Helena. One night, he got into a fight with a taxi driver and was punched, causing him to fall and hit his head on the ground. This accident resulted in a permanent loss of his sense of smell and taste. While it may seem like a small thing compared to a more serious injury, it had a major impact on him beyond just his senses. Helena observed as the man she cared for changed slowly. He was still Michael, still charming and unpredictable, but there was a lack of energy in him. His moods became more gloomy and his confidence wavered. A head injury had caused a fundamental change in him. She later talked about how difficult it was to see him change and how she felt unable to do anything about it. The sadness wasn't sudden, it was gradual, sneaky, and quiet, like something that becomes a part of your life while you're still hoping things will return to normal. She supported him during the confusion and many doctor visits as things were falling apart in a way that others did not always understand. The romanticized version of their relationship was not accurate. She went through a combination of concern, sorrow, and inner strength. She remembered a moment when Michael expressed his fear of never being able to smell his future kids. This heartbreaking thought stayed with her long after they parted ways. In 1995, they had grown apart. The breakup was peaceful, with no public fights or blame. However, what followed was far from calm. Michael started a well-known relationship with Paula Yates, a television star whose personal life was already a focus of tabloids. The media eagerly reported on every aspect, not just because Yates was still married to musician Bob Geldof, but also because her willingness to talk to the press was in sharp contrast to Helena's refusal to. In November 1997, Michael was tragically found dead in a hotel room in Sydney. This shocking news spread worldwide, leading to questions about his close relationships. Helena chose not to speak out, which caused speculation from some of Michael's family and the media. The reason for her silence was the immense pain she was experiencing. Years later, in the BBC documentary Mystify, she shared the truth about her relationship with Michael. She did not try to make herself look good or share any gossip. She simply spoke about what she had experienced. She explained how his head injury had affected him, how she had noticed the change, and how difficult it was for her. Keeping their private life private, even after he passed away, was not a sign of weakness, but rather a display of loyalty. That type of silence holds a certain power. It's not the bold, attention-seeking kind that receives praise. It's a peaceful strength that arises from cherishing love without making a show of it, even when others want to know all the details. Helena Christensen did not feel the need to explain herself to the public, and she never attempted to do so. However, this wasn't the end of Helena's love story. The next phase was entirely different, as it opened a new chapter of motherhood in her life. Helena Christensen's journey as a mother. During the late 1990s, Helena Christensen was well known in the fashion industry and was going through a major life change. In 1998, she started dating actor Norman Reedus, who was famous for his captivating acting and charm. Then, in October 1999, their lives changed dramatically when their son, Mingus, was born. Becoming a mother was a whole new experience for Helena, bringing both difficulties and a strong sense of meaning to her life. They were together for 5 years, and during that time they created a family life that mixed Helena's artistic world with Norman's acting career. When they split in 2003, it could have been tough. Instead, they decided to co-parent peacefully. They stayed close by, making sure Mingus got love and attention from both of them as he grew up. Helena believed in co-parenting with mutual respect and understanding. Their family dynamic was impressive because there was no public drama. They supported each other in raising Mingus, allowing him to grow up without conflict. Their successful co-parenting is a rare example in a world where relationships often end bitterly. Mingus was raised in a creative environment, and it was expected when he started to make his way. Inspired by his artistic mother, he entered the modeling industry, bringing with him the same unique style that made Helena famous. His success showed the strong support system his parents had given him. Helena shared a funny story about their current life, showing that even in a famous family, ordinary moments are important. She joked that Mingus finishing school meant the end of free rent, highlighting the importance of everyday experiences. Helena Christensen believed that being a mother was more than just taking care of a child. It was about forming a strong bond and proving that love can last even after romantic relationships. Her connection with Norman Reedus has been a steady and important part of her life, based on the family they built together and the mutual respect that keeps them close. Amid a turbulent romance, Helena endured a terrifying stalking ordeal, an experience that shook her deeply and left her heart in pieces. Helena Christensen's quiet escape. In 2003, Helena Christensen encountered a threat unrelated to the fashion industry or the media attention she was used to. It wasn't during a fashion show or photo shoot, but a real-life danger that challenged her courage and resilience. Despite her glamorous persona, she was dealing with a scary situation: a stalker. Celebrities often become distant from the public due to their fame, but it can also attract unwanted attention. Helena experienced this firsthand when she discovered she was being followed, which made her feel deeply uneasy. The situation was tense, unpredictable, and filled with genuine fear. Being under constant surveillance, not for her career but in a manner that felt invasive and unsafe, served as a reminder that being in the public eye carried personal risks. The situation could have gotten much worse, but Helena acted quickly. She was able to get away from the person following her, creating space between them. Her escape was not just a moment of relief, it was a way for her to feel safe and at peace again. Unlike the usual attention-grabbing headlines about her work and personal life, this period of time was more low-key and not as widely publicized. However, it showed a different side of Helena that her fans rarely got to see: her vulnerability, her understanding of risky situations, and her bravery in facing them. It also highlighted the fact that even the most revered celebrities are just like everyone else, dealing with difficult situations that may not make the news but still have a significant impact on their lives. For Helena Christensen, making it through that moment was not just about escaping, it was about maintaining her feeling of safety, even in a world where fame can sometimes threaten it. However, her story did not truly begin there. From the moment she was born, she was met with challenges. Between two worlds. Helena Christensen was born on Christmas Day in 1968 in Denmark to a Danish father and a Peruvian mother.
Well, she's beautiful, she has a wonderful mixture of being, half Peruvian, half, I don't know what, or Brazilian, and I love the color, of her eyes. She's such a beautiful girl.
He talks about her background. Their unique union influenced her in ways she did not fully comprehend at the time. Her father was steady and practical, while her mother was creative and emotional. Growing up with this contrast, Helena discovered her blend of tranquility and passion. She had a natural talent for languages and saw them as a need rather than a luxury. She was able to fluently speak Danish, Spanish, English, Swedish, and a little French. Her childhood was modest and peaceful, far from the glitz and glamour she would later experience. She spent simple days at school, took long walks with her mother, and had no idea that she would become famous worldwide. However, there was something about her that made people take notice: a mysterious expression, a lingering gaze, a way of being that did not seek attention. She stood out when she was young because she was tall and thin, but people were not always nice to her. She was teased, and those words hurt her. Instead of forgetting the pain, she learned to handle it in a new way. When she was a teenager, she started getting noticed by talent scouts because of her unique look. At 17, she won the title of Miss Universe Denmark and represented her country internationally. However, she did not feel comfortable with the fake smiles and staged moments. She wanted something more real and less rehearsed. In 1987, she participated in the Ford Model's Look of the Year competition, which was a big opportunity for her. Although she did not win the contest, she had already caught the attention of the industry. Following that, she decided to move to Paris.
When I was 18, 19 years old and finished high school, I went back. I went to Paris and started working here. I've been living here about 2.5 years now.
She talks about moving to Paris. It may seem like a dream for a teenager to travel to the fashion capital of the world and work with top designers. However, the reality was quite chaotic. Fresh out of high school, she found herself in a new city, trying to figure out how the fashion industry worked at a much faster pace than she was used to. Paris was fast-paced, challenging, and sometimes unwelcoming. Despite this, Helena managed to adapt, as she always does. She did not seek validation by showing off when entering rooms. She wasn't trying to be the center of attention or the most impressive person in the room. Instead, she exuded self-assurance in a subtle way, allowing her mere presence to speak for itself. Photographers could detect a genuine quality in her, an authenticity that did not require any enhancements. In the late 1980s, during a time when fashion focused on perfection, Helena stood out by wearing secondhand clothes and speaking little French at castings. Despite this, she still managed to catch the camera's attention effortlessly and became memorable without trying too hard. Helena Christensen's success did not come from seeking attention. She stayed true to herself, quietly and confidently, without making excuses. This authenticity helped her become one of the most memorable faces of her time, despite coming from a humble Danish background. But what about her career? Was it as turbulent as her relationships? The mystery in the spotlight. One of the key moments in Helena Christensen's career was working with photographer Fabrizio Ferri. His black and white photos captured a unique quality in her, a subtle yet powerful presence that did not need to be flashy. Then she worked with Peter Lindbergh, who focused more on capturing emotion than perfection. Through his photography, Helena appeared not just as a model, but as a woman with a story to tell. Herb Ritts also worked with her, and in 1991, she had a significant role in Chris Isaak's Wicked Game music video that solidified her place in pop culture history. The photo shoot happened at a beach in Hawaii. There was no script or talking, just the sound of wind, waves, and volcanic rocks. The location was stunning, but the reality was not glamorous. The wind made the models cold. The rough rocks caused some minor injuries. They spent a lot of time in the water without shoes, doing multiple takes. Helena endured the discomfort with grace. On camera, she appeared extremely calm, looking past the camera. This calmness was memorable. It transformed a love song into a classic and made Helena famous. Her career skyrocketed after Wicked Game. She was featured in popular magazines like Vogue, Elle, and Harper's Bazaar. She also walked the runway for top fashion houses like Chanel, Versace, Valentino, and Yves Saint Laurent. Revlon chose her to be their face, with her image displayed on billboards worldwide. Despite her fame, she chose to stay out of the spotlight. She kept a low profile, gave limited interviews, and kept her personal life private. While others in the fashion industry sought fame, she remained elusive. She was unique because she could adapt to different styles easily. She could appear romantic at one moment and then look more androgynous in the next. She talks about her looks. She could be soft, sharp, mysterious, or simply stripped back. She did not try to force a certain image in front of the camera. Instead, she let it capture her true self. Despite her changing looks, she stayed true to her roots as a girl from Copenhagen, trusting her instincts over a planned strategy. In the early 1990s, fashion became more attention-grabbing. Supermodels were becoming influential cultural figures. It wasn't just in magazines. Their faces were everywhere, on TV and music videos and at events. Helena, a supermodel, was very well known and highly sought after. However, unlike others, she did not seek out fame for the sake of appearing popular. She did not try to create a persona or pretend to be someone she wasn't. She simply did her job and then stayed out of the spotlight. The schedule was very demanding. Models had to deal with a lot of traveling, trying on clothes, runway appearances, and photo shoots all within a short period of time. They were required to look perfect whenever they were needed. Some models couldn't handle the stress and became exhausted, but at that time, no one discussed it openly. Helena looked back on the harmful effects of staying silent about mental health issues. She emphasized the significance of taking care of one's mental well-being, recognizing when to step away, and seeking moments of calm in a constantly busy world. However, the fashion industry continued to be interested in her. She was one of the first models for Victoria's Secret prior to the Angel Wings phase. Leading designers continued to request her services. What made her unique was that she did not let her celebrity status control her. She maintained a level of privacy that kept an air of mystery around her, even during her peak in the industry. Helena Christensen was part of the era of the top supermodels, but she made her rules. Even though her face was famous everywhere, she was able to keep a lot of herself private. In an era focused on extravagant fashion, she showed that being subtle can still make a big impact. The untold evolution of Helena Christensen. After achieving success as a model by appearing on magazine covers, working for top designers, and starring in popular music videos, Helena Christensen did not disappear or try to hold on to fame. Instead, she broadened her horizons. While modeling gave her visibility, she also found beauty in other ways. She started taking photos again, not as a new start, but as a continuation of a passion she always had. Before becoming involved in fashion, Helena was already taking photographs of the world around her. She would often bring a camera with her while traveling, quietly capturing genuine and natural moments as they happened.
Well, I want to travel a lot. I really want to have a job where I travel a lot. I'm used to that from this job, and I love traveling, so that's great. Later study archaeology. I find that very interesting.
She talks about traveling. While she was a model, she paid close attention to the photographers she worked with, asking questions and learning how to convey emotions in her images. Helena's photography stood out not because of technical perfection, but because of the emotion it conveyed. Her photos focused on light, movement, and the moments in between, capturing people at their most authentic. She did not strive for perfection, preferring to keep her work raw and genuine. She did not stop modeling completely, even as her photography started being featured in magazines and exhibitions around the world. She chose projects that felt right for her and that aligned with her instincts or supported causes she believed in. She did not feel the need to be in every campaign or on every runway. She made room for both modeling and photography to coexist.
Being really excited and interested in photography, and then became a model, and in a way, used one for the other.
She talks about her photography. Her composure was put to the test during challenging situations that could have easily caused panic. For example, during a photo shoot for Vogue in the Indian Ocean, the boat carrying the crew broke down far from land. They had no way to communicate with anyone, no food, and no way to ask for assistance. The conditions were difficult with rough waves and sharp volcanic rocks. However, Helena remained calm and focused, completing the shoot without making a fuss. She only mentioned the incident later on to highlight the behind-the-scenes aspect of the job. As Helena entered her 40s, she did not conform to the industry's expectation for women to vanish from the spotlight. She shared pictures in lingerie, swimwear, and even without makeup, just being herself. People reacted differently. Some praised her confidence, while others criticized her age and decisions. Instead of getting into arguments, she continued to create the work she was passionate about, following her instincts. Her uniqueness came from being consistently true to herself, rather than trying to change dramatically. Instead of following youthful fads or trying to be trendy, she remained loyal to her values. She prioritized depth over flashy appearances, collaborating with those she admired and only wearing clothes that felt authentic to her. If something did not feel right, she had no issue declining it. In private, she guided young models, encouraging them to prioritize self-care, advocate for themselves, and not get overwhelmed by the fast pace of the industry. Her way of dealing with fame was unique. She did not seek attention or let it control her. While many people crave constant attention, Helena cherished her privacy as a way of showing self-respect. She ventured into different creative fields like design, curation, and even cooking, not for fame or wealth, but simply because she was curious to explore. The only way she measured her success was by whether she was still growing, still creating, and still pursuing things that were meaningful to her. Aside from her job, she became more connected to her mother's country of Peru. She traveled to villages, talked to farmers, and experienced the difficulties they were dealing with, such as climate change, lack of water, and the need for sustainable farming. These visits were not for show or attention. They were for gaining insight, for listening, and for using her influence discreetly, without making activism a spectacle. Motherhood arrived next. She gave birth to her son Mingus in 1999. Having a child did not stop her career, but it did change the way she thought about it. Rather than making a big deal of transitioning into motherhood, she found that being a mom brought more focus to her life. She started to prioritize her time and only took on work that felt meaningful. Her family became the most important thing to her, and she wouldn't sacrifice that for any job. The change she made was not about doing less, but about adding more meaning to her actions. She did not have to completely change herself to stay important. She grew and developed naturally without making excuses. Her life became a harmonious mix of art, work, activism, and family, all blending together without one dominating the others. Today, she still appears on camera when she deems it appropriate, but she also spends a lot of time behind the camera, deciding what gets shown to the world and what she keeps to herself. In a business that focuses on appearance, Helena Christensen's biggest asset might be the part of herself that she has chosen to keep away from the public eye. She shows that it is possible to be visible everywhere and still maintain a sense of self. Her ability to be seen without losing herself is what makes her story timeless. She did not just go along with trends. She created her path and maintained it for many years. This, more than any specific picture or news story, is her real legacy. Helena's story did not end with fashion and cameras. She carried a deeper battle within her. Helena Christensen's fight for a cause. Helena Christensen is known for her beauty and artistry in the fashion world, but she also makes a difference in other ways. When she's not in the spotlight, she dedicates her time and effort to meaningful causes. One of her significant contributions was starting the Second Fashion Targets Breast Cancer campaign. This campaign aimed to raise awareness and money to combat breast cancer, using the influence of fashion for a greater purpose. The campaign was straightforward, yet impactful. T-shirts designed by a designer were sold, with profits going to Ireland's Action Breast Cancer, a branch of the Irish Cancer Society, and Europa Donna Ireland. These organizations concentrate on assisting younger women battling breast cancer, providing both medical assistance and a supportive community during a tough period. By supporting the campaign with her name, presence, and dedication, Helena transformed a fashion item into a symbol of hope. Helena did not just help out once, she has kept supporting charitable causes by using her influence to bring attention to important issues. She has backed campaigns for health awareness, women's rights, and global humanitarian work, showing that her dedication to helping others is just as strong as her successful career. What makes Helena's charity work so inspiring is the personal touch she adds to it. She doesn't see giving back as just something she has to do, but as something that reflects her beliefs. Whether she is advocating for those who are struggling or helping to raise important funds, she demonstrates that caring and taking action can work together effectively. Helena Christensen has shown that making a difference doesn't just come from being famous, but from using your fame to make positive changes in the world. The supermodel who chased glaciers instead of fame. Helena Christensen is known for being a famous model in the 1990s, appearing on runways and magazine covers. Despite her glamorous image, she has a strong connection to nature, which has taken her away from the fashion world to the rural areas of her upbringing. In 2009, Helena teamed up with Oxfam to show the serious impacts of climate change in Peru, where her mother is from. This visit wasn't just for taking pictures, it was a meaningful trip back to her roots, where the people and the land held special significance to her. She connected with farmers who were witnessing their fields transform in ways never before seen by their ancestors. Plants that used to do well were now struggling due to unpredictable weather patterns. The glaciers, which had long provided water and sustenance for the area, were melting quickly, putting whole communities at risk. Helena used her camera to show these realities in a way that numbers could not. Her pictures helped people in other countries understand the personal stories behind the data on climate change. Each photo showed people's strength and determination to adapt, despite the challenges they faced. Her experience in Peru marked the start of her involvement in environmental issues on a global scale. She later observed the effects of climate change in other at-risk areas like Nepal and Kenya. In each place, she focused on the human aspect of the crisis by speaking with locals, observing their daily lives in the face of environmental challenges, and capturing these moments in compelling visuals. These experiences led to exhibitions and the development of Meltdown, a booklet that showcases her discoveries and the perspectives of the people she encountered. She became a prominent supporter during important global gatherings like COP15 and Rio+20, using her position to elevate the stories of communities impacted by climate change. Advocacy, for her, meant not just giving speeches from afar, but sharing her firsthand experiences of walking the paths, being in the fields, and witnessing the changes with her eyes. Helena's environmental efforts go beyond just a job. She's not seeking recognition in the fashion industry, but rather aims to make a positive impact on those who are most vulnerable. Her ties to Peru make her cause genuine and relatable to others, combining her creativity with advocacy in a sincere and personal manner. The 1990s were a great time for fashion, when the term supermodel referred to influential icons like Helena Christensen, who brought warmth and individuality to the industry. These models were not just pretty faces, but also influenced culture, style, and business. During that time, that the supermodels were more than just the faces of advertising and magazine covers. They played a significant role in a cultural change, stepping out from the background to stand out as individuals. They were not only seen in commercials and magazines, but also in music videos, movies, and public appearances, influencing popular culture and representing success. Helena is nostalgic, yet evolving when it comes to her supermodel legacy. She still embodies the grace and charm of her early days, but she has also changed her public image. The fashion world now focuses more on digital influencers and different beauty ideals, but Helena is still associated with a time when models had a special type of influence based on their appearance and mysterious appeal. Today, Helena's position in history is well established, but she is more than just a supermodel. She has demonstrated that a supermodel's impact can extend beyond modeling, incorporating art, activism, and genuine personal expression. By doing this, she highlights that the influence of supermodels from the 1990s is still relevant, despite changes in the fashion industry. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.